Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Max Warframe. We're finally going to be taking a look at a weapon I've had requested for a long time now. Just never got around to doing it, and that is the Detron and the Mara Detron. I'm lumping the two weapons together because both the weapons have exactly the same 105 pure radiation damage per shot, making them one of the very few weapons that use pure radiation damage. Both weapons also have the same 2.5% critical chance, 150% multiplier. It makes critical builds not worth it at all. The status chance of 10% really isn't worth modding for at all either. So immediately you know it's going to be a straight elemental weapon. In fact, the only difference between the two weapons is that the Mara gets its magazine size increased from 5 to 8 shots, and its fire rate is increased from 3.33 to 4.17. So the sustained damage output from the Mara is a lot higher than the standard weapon. In addition to that, the weapon's projectiles, they're pretty fast and have no damage fall off at all. And that's balanced out by the fact that the spread on the weapon is, quite frankly, shocking. And if you're not in a range where you can physically kiss the enemy, some of your projectiles are definitely going to miss. But why have I decided to do a review now when the weapons have been out for a really long time now? Well, in the last year we've had two mods that have really transformed the Mara Detron, with the final one only being released last week, and that is thermagnetic rounds and targeting subsystem. Now, I'm going to start with targeting subsystem because it's by far the simplest and, in my opinion, the best of the two mods, which is that if you land a hit with the secondary weapon, it will increase the weapon's accuracy by 30% for 9 seconds. It's a really simple mod, but it is extremely easy to trigger, especially since any of the Mara Detron's pellets do it. The accuracy buff on the Detron and the Mara is really noticeable. It helps to focus that spread way more. There's a lot of people that completely forgot this mod exists, and I'm probably one of them, because it's not that useful on many weapons, to be honest, but on the Mara Detron it can add more damage per shot than adding more damage, and in terms of a damage mod, every pellet that misses a target is damage wasted. So focusing the spread, landing more of those shots than you would before, is a huge boost in damage and allows for more pellets than ever to hit the head, and really boosts damage with headshot multipliers. It's a great mod and one that is worth taking a look at for this. The second of the two mods is the one from the index that we've just had, thermagnetic rounds. It's a very similar mod to Vulcan Blitz and acid shells, where the enemy is killed, they will explode, dealing 80 damage, plus 40% of the max enemy health as magnetic damage. So say for example the enemy has 100 health, the damage in the explosion will be 120 magnetic damage. 80 from the base mod, 40 from the max enemy health. This damage will be applied to any enemy within a 6 meter range, with enemies close to the base of the damage. The actual blast takes more damage than those on the edge. This is easily the weakest of the three mods to have this sort of mechanic, since magnetic damage, really, honestly, I don't like magnetic damage. For the most part, against the Corpus, you ignore magnetic and go straight for toxin to bypass shields anyway, and shields are the only thing that magnetic is good for. And then it suffers from the fact it has no bonus damage to anything else. Although, honestly, it doesn't have that many negatives. In fact, the only negative it has is alloy armor, and that only affects things like bombards and the napalms. The range is pretty short as well, 6 meters on a ranged weapon. That's the same as a Jack Tag, which is a melee weapon and is designed to be up close and personal anyway. Acid Shells, for example, has a base damage of 450 on the mod, plus 45% of the base health, and has a 15 meter range. So thermagnetic rounds doesn't even come close to these other mods that are easier to obtain, with the fact that you can only get thermagnetic in the trade chat now, and the others drops from the Kayla boss fight. I'm pretty sure that 80 is supposed to be 800. I'm sure there's a 0 missing. So it's going to be interesting to see whether this changes at all, since comparing it to the easier to get mods, it's not even in the same league. But how do both of these mods factor into my builds? Well, we have 6 former on the Mara Detron. We got 3 V and 3 dash, since it doesn't come with any at all, which is helpful. First build is one with thermagnetic rounds. We have Hornet Strike, Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent. They're the 3 standard secondary mods. We also have targeting subsystem on there for the added accuracy on hit. And we've also got the magnetic rounds for the extra damage from the explosions. And then we've got 3 90% elemental mods. Primed Heated Charge is very strong, so try and have it on here as much as you can. Even if you go with Viral and Heat, that way you got Radiation, Viral and Heat on your weapon. That makes an incredible Grenadier killer, or actually a Corpus killer. even corrosive and heat, which is even stronger against the Grineer all around. You got radiation for alloy armor, corrosive for ferret armor, and then heat for all around damage. Against Corpus, like I say, you can use viral heat. That works really, really well. Or you can use blast and toxin. Or even stick 2 pure poison mods on there to cut through shields, and go with a Bane of Corpus for the extra damage that brings. So you've got the radiation for the robotics, you've got the poison to cut through the shields, and then you've got the Bane of Corpus that's going to do damage to all of them. There is a ton of flexibility for you to mess around with whatever combo you want to go with. Now, the second build is almost exactly the same as the first. Well, actually, to be honest, basically it is the same mods. But instead of thermagnetic rounds, go for another elemental mod for extra damage, or even Seeker for punch through. I'm not entirely convinced by thermagnetic shells, as you heard when I talked about the mod, so this will be more than likely my standard build for it. But it's always good to have options. So, do I like the Detron? Do I think it's worth taking, whacking that former on there? Yes, I actually do. I'll be honest, I actually completely forgot the Detron existed. I know that's bad, but when I first tried it out, when it first came out, I hated the fact that the damage was split between the pellets, and that to have a hope in hell of landing all those pellets, you had to be so close that you could tell whether the enemy is shaved in the morning. Anything further away than that, and the damage was just lost by the ridiculous spread. However, the mod that have really transformed it, I feel, is the one, not the one that's just come out. It's the one that came out with the Acolytes back in January, and that's targeting Subsystem. Finally, a mod that means you have a better chance of landing some actual shots for a change, and applying some of that decent damage that the Detron and the Mara do have. But with the fact that it's base radiation, it means it's super useful for 3 of the 4 factions. The only one that's going to have problems is the Infested. To be honest, their radiation resistance. But the ability to have 3 elementals on there, whether it's radiation, viral and heat, radiation, corrosive and heat, or whatever, means you can really focus it to specific factions, make it fantastic. Personally, I don't think thermagnetic rounds is worth it right now. I won't use it very much, and I suspect it will get buffed in the near future, but don't quote me on that. The Detron, or the Detron though, if you manage to get hold of one, they are very solid sidearms that can pretty much fire as fast as you can click, and although they look kind of boxy and clumsy, and honestly I don't think they look particularly good from that perspective, both of them are definitely sortie worthy, provided you're going to get up close to the enemy all the time. Does it beat the Brak? Not for me, no it doesn't. Does it need to? Not really. It's good to have competition in the handheld shotgun category. With this, the Brak, you got the Piranha, it means that you can have a hand cannon for all occasions. I hope you enjoyed my quick look at the Detron and the Detron. If there's any weapons you'd like to see me cover still, let me know in the comments, and let me know what you feel about thermagnetic rounds. Is it a mod you're going to be using yourself? As always though, many thanks for watching. Feel free to smash that like button and hit subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I shall see you in the next one.